Welcome to the Rockin' Rich Lynch on the Radio Show. I'm your host, Rockin' Rich Lynch, inviting you to join me as we discover great new music by bands and artists from around the world. With interviews, music news and reviews, great prizes, and a whole lot more. Visit us online today at soundpress.net for great music promotion and publicity. Hi, this is Rockin' Rich Lynch, and you're listening to the very best of Rockin' Rich Lynch on the radio. We recently moved our operations from the New York, New Jersey market to Nashville, Tennessee, and we are now looking for a production and broadcast partner in the region to take the radio show to new heights. If you're a band, musician, solo act, or represent a musical project in any genre, please visit soundpress.net and our new site, musiccitynashville.net, to learn how we can help get your message to the world. Now, please enjoy this great interview from our archives. We are back, everybody. Today, another great show on the Quebec Music Magazine. We are talking to musical legend from going back, first introduced to the man in the 1980s, CURNIN of The Fix, and also a very active solo artist. Cy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rich. Pleasure to be on.
So, I wanted to tell you that your music is pretty much the soundtrack to my youth. I was 18 in 1983, so that'll give you an idea of what I was doing. I was spending a lot of time watching MTV, and of course The Fix. Some people might think of The Fix as a one-hit wonder, but they'd be sadly mistaken because you guys were incredible hit makers for your time.
Yeah, we had we had a string of them there for a while. What happened for us was even before One Thing Leads to Another, the sort of popular pop hit, we'd had Stand or Fall and Red Skies, which had been pretty active on college radio, which was at the birth of alternative radio back then, even before MTV kicked in.
Right.
So when MTV did appear, and we had this, they were looking for a lot of content in those days, didn't have too much. So the video for Stand or Fall, which was made for about $10,000, was pretty much staple play. And we rode on the back of that, and a year later, we had Saved by Zero and One Thing Leads to Another, and the rest is history now.
Yeah, I've spoken to a lot of your cadre from that time, when MTV was just really emerging, and I get, you couldn't have come out at a better time, really. I mean, it's really just the way things have gone, but even, it's like the Concorde. We had the Concorde for a time, but you can't get across the ocean in 3.5 hours anymore. Yeah,
exactly, yeah. It was good for its day. But then competition is a great thing, but it also spreads the butter a bit thin on the bread. And so now you've got a lot of content, way too much content for the same 24-hour period. The days don't get any longer. And I think also the generations have different distractions. Back then, you didn't have things as PlayStations, you didn't have computer games, you didn't have a lot of other things to fill up your leisure time with. So music was part of how you defined your character, your look, the people you hung out with, the kind of person you were. Now it's a little bit more homogenous.
Yeah, I mean, music might be less important to people now than it was. I mean, from the 60s through, I guess, the early 90s, people, like you said, generationally and group-mindedness, would gather towards a genre or a band, and that would really mean a lot to them. Yeah,
I mean, now we're sort of living... Unfortunately, there's a sort of a separation that's come about through being online. It's a great thing to be online, but unless you can see someone's eyes, there's no pheromonal connection, there's no spiritual connection. And sadly, that's what seems to be lacking and sending a lot of stars off to rehab today.
Well, let me give out the website, Cy. We are talking to Cy Curnin, frontman and lead singer of the band The Fix, and also an active solo artist. His second album is just out now, but let me give out the websites. They are CURNIN.com and thefix.net, and that's 2 X's in The Fix, so don't forget about that.
Right.
The Returning Sun, we think it's a fantastic record. It's probably one of our favorite of the year that we've gotten in here.
That's good to hear.
Great sounding. I mean, I would tell you, if this is the 80s again, and if this was vinyl, the first side would have the grooves worn out by now. I mean, the whole record is great, but that's, just using a little 80s metaphor for you.
Yeah. It was nice to have 2 sides in those days. Now there's only one side to the coin, so it's a win-win situation with one side to play. But I was lucky enough to have a sort of enough period to just keep writing, and I was very prolific for like a huge slew of songs came out. I just recorded them all, so I had a lot of choices, and I just put the ones that sort of emotionally connected with me, where I was in my brain at the time, and it just flowed.
Well, a lot of good hooks in there. It's very catchy. The Returning Sun, the title track, probably my favorite right about now.
Yeah, quirky little piece. And I've got my buddy Jamie Westorum, guitarist from The Fix, who's playing all over this record too. We're kind of inseparable as friends, and as musicians too. We're always fiddling around together, and we just got back from the Love, Hope, Strength trek up Everest.
Right. I do want to talk to you a little bit more about that in a few minutes, Si, if that's okay.
So, he's all over it, and that's one on that track, The Returning Sun. He's got a real kind of nice little light African feel going on that really suited the emotion of the track.
Yeah, well, I know you just hit 50, and I'm 42 now, so I'm feeling it, each day. And it is nice to see the sun come back, each passing day.
Yeah, it is. The sunset is kind of okay, but you wonder what ghosts are going to come bite your ass at night.
So did you basically keep the Fix going up until the early 90s, and then were you another band that had to deal with the whole grunge scene as it emerged?
Yeah, kind of. We were getting a little stale. The A&R just went mad at that point. There was a guy called Michael Goldstone who'd signed Pearl Jam and Nirvana. Were all sort of wearing their check shirts down, covering their asses and all that stuff. And so grunge was in, and anything that was good in the 80s was out. And like night and day, the A&R guys just wanted to have what was being successful at the moment, so they tried to force us into that package. I was having my second son was born, other guys in the band were having their first kids, so it seemed like a time to just take a break.
Right. And here you are now. And then when did the Fix start touring again as a working unit?
97.
Right.
We got our sort of gig boots back on. I'd sort of taken hiatus off and was selling this a few hats. I had this little hat company going, and I was thinking, Jesus, if I could sell hats, I should be selling music, really. So we got the band back together again, and we wrote Elemental record, which came out on CMC. And what we realized was that the fans really hadn't gone away. I mean, the hardcore fans I'm talking about, the sort of the fair weather friends had flitted off into another life, but the hardcore Fix fans were still there, and it made playing live the perfect place to be at our age.
Yeah, you guys still had a base you could call upon.
Yeah, because when you get older, it's not like in sports where you hit a retirement age because you physically can't do it anymore. With music, you can. That's the beauty of it. And I found that the male voice mine has improved with age because there's probably less tension around my upper body. You learn how to just relax a bit more whilst you're performing. So the whole thing, the tone has improved. I don't sound as strident as I did when I was a kid.
Well, you're probably putting some soothing liquid of the gods down that throat too.
Yes, some nice Catholic Irish whiskey.
Well, you're also very much into the whole wine scene. Live over there in France.
Yes, I am indeed. Yeah, I moved to France primarily for love, but wine followed right behind it, and I suddenly realized it was in a country that produced some incredible wines. And I'm living in the Loire Valley right now, which is I'm sort of in between the Touraine grape, the Gamay grape, and the Sancerre, and all the Mentou Salon grapes. And really good. I've had to sort of put a check on myself to make sure I don't drink too much.
Well, that's good to hear. So because especially, I'm looking forward to seeing the Fix next year because, we see a lot of shows through the magazine, and I'm just going to write you guys down. And I saw that you were in the area earlier in the summer, so hopefully you'll come back.
Yeah, we'll be floating around again. Yeah.
Do you still have the fashion company?
Well, I've kind of kicked it off again just as a bolt-on to my website. So there's a few things. Some of the hats that I made, my big sellers back then, I'm reintroducing them on the website. They'll be coming in just before Christmas. And then I'm doing a few little bits and pieces, like some lanyards and some bracelets, but not as heavy as I was doing it back then.
So I know that you're running the new solo record, The Returning Sun, at CURNIN.com
Right.
as an indie release.
Yeah.
And are you taking
the fact that you can these days be totally independent of everyone.
Right. So many people are doing that.
Yeah, you can manufacture your stuff, and okay, you maybe sell a lot less, but the promotion is still the same game, and you make all the money. And you don't have to deal with all the idiots at the record company making, stupid remarks and trying to sound trendy when they're so out of date, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and so many other artists who have a history are doing that, and that's, when I talk to you guys, that's the great advantage that you guys have in that era. Like you said, if indie artists move 10,000 units of a CD, you're still turning like $100,000.
Yeah, exactly, and then that to me is like, that definitely pays the rent and keeps a smile on my face.
Nice.
Especially living in the middle of nowhere.
Nice, and that's not out of the question for you to do that. You're probably doing, this record's probably going to do a lot better. You'll probably even get, pick up some distribution. But we did talk a little bit earlier about the, the effect MTV had, and I know that here we are in the age of the internet and the iPod. Do you see any similar trends between the two eras?
Well, I can. That the fact that those who, decide to take the bull by the horns and follow their own drum and genre, people are having to get grouped in genres. Some of the things I'm seeing is, when you go to a website, you see if you like this, then you may like that. So there's someone in the background taste making and collectively putting artists together. And I think those people are quite valuable. And as the internet sales business grows, those people are going to become more important and more powerful, probably such as yourselves, because there's so much stuff out there. You still need aficionados to tell people what is good and what isn't, or suggest what is good or what isn't.
Yeah, definitely. I hear you, because you are right. Now it's, used to be that, the label signed a bunch of people, but now it's like everybody's signing themselves. So there's like
yeah, exactly. And you've got so there's a sort of gold rush for the independent market that's background again. And I'm lucky enough, as you said earlier, a lot of my generation's got disposable income, and they're fiddling around on the internet quite a lot and surfing and looking up old names. And hey, bingo, there's a name from the past, and he's still active. What's he doing? He's selling music. I've just downloaded it. I'm liking it. They haven't even put their pajamas on yet.
Now, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it's so instant. The sort of instant, the impulse buy is very important these days.
Oh, definitely. And plus, we are in an era, or we're very close to it anywhere, where everybody with the cell phones are going to be able to walk past a unit and just say, download a song, and it'll be instantly transferred to their cell phone. And that's even more of an impulse buy. Yeah,
that's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. But it does make magazines really important. It does make, just putting music out there liberally so that people can run into. Movies, soundtracks are more important than they ever were. Radio, if you can get to the promoters and all this stuff, the promotions guy and the programmers, you can get to them. They're still as important, but in one sense, with satellite radio fighting for a shrinking market, internet radio really is the future.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, we only have like 2 stations in the U.S. that sure, they have a lot of channels within the stations, but even that market's very limited. Now, I read online that you live on a working farm.
Yeah, I've got head of 50 sheep, started with 3. I've got a very happy ram down here who's got a lot of children running around.
Nice.
And my wife runs a B&B guest house, and she runs a pet business out of the place. So we're in the middle of nowhere, and we're sort of making a living just using the internet and eating our own organic meat.
So you definitely have a commercial element involved within running the farm. It's not all just for leisure or personal business.
No, it started off as a leisure thing, but then we realized, if we wanted to run it in the right way, we had to sort of up the output, and in order to do that, we had to commercialize some of the things. So I've gone organic with the meat, and we sell a fair amount of organic lamb. We've started pigs this year as well, and we also have, when the parents come down from Paris with their kids, and their kids don't really know what a chicken looks like or how they behave, they can go and spend a few hours running around the farm, and so it's very kid-friendly.
So have you learned any transferable skills from your entrepreneurship with the clothing and the farm that you've brought to running the Fix and your solo crew?
Instead of talking bullshit, I'm shoveling it.
Because your arms are stronger, right?
That's right, yeah. And man, I tell you, when I went up Everest, I was the oldest guy on the trek, I was the strongest. I was the first one, ahead of the pack every morning. I think it must be just banging in fence posts and shoveling shit.
Yeah, well, that's cool. That's the last thing I wanted to talk to you about, Cy. We are talking to Cy Curnin of The Fix, CurNin.com, thefix.net. A lot going on with the man. Check out the brand new The Returning Sun solo. I believe it's your second solo CD, an incredible record. We love it here.
Thank you. Yeah, second CD, and I'm just getting ready to record my third one in January.
And how about a new Fix record?
A new Fix record's coming out in February. We're recording that February.
Oh, wow, you're going to be busy.
Very busy, yeah.
So you just climbed Everest with a group of fellow musicians, and did you set the Guinness World Record?
Yeah, we set the Guinness World Record for the highest rock concert ever. We made it to the top of Kalapatar, which is a small knoll just above base camp, which is actually at around 19,000 feet.
Wow.
We were with, there was Glenn Tilbrook from Squeeze, Mike Peters from The Alarm. He's actually one of the founding members of the Love, Hope, Strength Foundation. He's a two-time surviving leukemia survivor. And we were on tour with him last summer, and he invited Jamie and I from the band to go up and join them on this trek. You can't really say no. I was so inspired watching Mike up on stage, thinking, but for the grace of God, there goes I.
Right.
Kind of thing could have been any of us. And you never know what the doctor's going to tell you tomorrow.
That's good you guys came through for him.
Yeah, exactly. So we jumped up there and raised, I think, about $250,000 for the Children's Cancer Ward in Nepal. And the foundation has a lot of ambitions to go to the 7 peaks of the world and leave the money that it raises in the poorest areas, which is quite a noble effort. And it was a physical effort on our part, but it was also a sort of something I really needed. At the age of 50, I really needed to feel awake and alive, that it's time to start giving as much as taking from your life. Yeah,
good job. Did you guys all play each other's songs?
Yeah. We did concerts around the fire every night, and Jamie taught the Sherpas how to play guitar. It was a blast, I tell you. And whiskey, the effect of whiskey at altitude is an amazing thing. We were singing and dancing on the tables, and then dancing up the mountain the next morning. Fantastic.
Well, it'll keep you warm, but I don't know if they want to recommend that to all the climbers.
That's right. I mean, if people want to check it out, there's still a lot of stuff that we had podcasts at everestrocks.com. You go there, you can check out the daily photos and little podcasts that we put out, and iTunes is covering some of the podcasts, and Alex Coletti, the guy that produced and created MTV's Unplugged, he came along and filmed the whole thing for a future broadcast.
Well, cool. You had a lot of peaks in the early '80s with the Fix. You kind of reached the summit now with the Returning Sun, and you're looking at going back.
Yeah, I'm looking at going spring '09. I'm going all the way up to the top this time. It was kind of frustrating to get that close and not be able to go up to the top. But, of course, it's a completely different type of training, and your equipment's completely different.
Now, do we know how many rock stars have reached the summit of Mount Everest before?
None. I'll be the first one.
Go. We want to talk to you again, Cy, before you do it, okay?
Yeah. I'll be needing as many mouths and ears talking about it as possible.
All right. Good luck, my friend, and great luck with the great job with the new CD. And I guess you're coming over to the States for a couple of dates, and we'll see you in 2008.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Rich. Okay. Thanks for the plug.
Bye, Cy.
Okay, man. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Rockin' Rich Lynch on the Radio Show, part of the Soundpress.net radio network. Remember, if you're a band or artist looking for promotion, or if you'd like to sponsor this show or add this program to your station, please get in touch with us today at Soundpress.net.